as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Welcome to this Stock Box interview with Nick Haughton, the CEO of West Mining Corp, a Canadian mining and exploration company dual listed on the Canadian Securities Exchange and the OTC market in New York, and actually Frankfurt as well. So actually it's triple listed, I suppose you can say. So Nick, it's great to have you on. How are you?
Very good. Thank you very much. Well, excellent.
Good.
Thanks for having me on.
No, it's very good to be speaking to you. So I wonder if we can start with an overview of the company of West Mining Corp. Obviously, I know you have your flagship project. There are some other projects as well, but maybe just start with a summary, an overview of what you're all about.
Excellent. Yeah, of course. Myself and a couple of associates, we took over, we cleaned up a vehicle with the idea of looking for gold copper projects, which were not strictly exploration, but advanced exploration projects. The company we got qualified and the transaction was in November of 2020. And this was actually with the Kagoo Brook project in Nova Scotia. We had the fortuitous connections to manage and to get the Kena Daylight project under our wings. And the beauty of this is it's in a very favorable mining jurisdiction here in Canada, in British Columbia, just outside of Nelson. Nelson itself is positioned in the Kootenay Arc, as we call it. There's the West Kootenay Mountains, which is famous for historically producing gold and silver. So it's called the Kootenay Gold Arc. And it stretches all the way down. Nelson's situated absolutely perfectly in between two quite predominant producing areas. The Rossland areas produce over 2 million ounces, and then further up north, several areas are produced. The beauty of the Kena Daylight, its two projects, is it has been developed and drilled and explored previously, but in separate companies. West Mining Corp, we've actually pulled in the two projects together. With the two projects, it also comes a bit of a nightmare with the combination and compiling all the data that comes with the two projects. So we're actually playing through that and we're doing very well. But what we do have is it's really two permitting situations. The Daylight area is a narrow vein gold occurrence, which you can actually start work on immediately. The Kena area is a much larger expanse of land, a much larger project with a different formation and a different occurrence, shall we say. So those permits are now going through for that particular area. What we have in the Daylight is a narrow vein gold, some great numbers. In that particular region, we're looking at 4 historic producing mines from the early 1900s, which founded this Kootenay Arc and founded a lot of the small mining towns all the way through southern BC. So we can actually start to look at, have we got production? Is there a possibility? And where do we go? As we come across to the southeast top portion, and then come down northeast down to the southwest, we come into the Kena project. As I say, the actual land, we're looking at about 18 kilometers in length with 3 distinctive zones in there. So we have the gold zone, we have a copper zone, and then we have the southern region, which is the Kena Gold Mountain Zone. The intentions this year are we're going to put some drill holes in. Now, talking to you, I'd just like to mention that we've closed the finance. We've had a very, very favorable response to a funding that we put out last month. We announced a $5 million financing, and we actually closed last week on $6.6 million. So the company itself is buoyant. The treasury is very buoyant. and we're looking forward to getting into the field season.
Okay, sounds good. So you mentioned this golden arc. Let's just talk about that then for a moment. That's a deposit then, is it, that's then facilitated lots of little miners in the area over the century?
Yeah, what it is, the Kootenai Golden Arc is basically it's a very large region with volcanic intrusions, possibilities for porphyries, and all this been expanded upon. Through the 1890 to the early 1900s, there was a silver gold rush through this particular region. And as you go through the region, all the towns, it was quite strange. I did the trip in the summer. All the towns have got old brick buildings with a keystone that dates 1910, 1905, 1855. So you can see that this entire region is built on old mining. It's built on the old artisanal type of mining. Now, obviously, they didn't have the technical abilities that we have nowadays. They didn't have the know-how of industrial mining. But what it does do, it proves up that the area itself is extremely rich in precious metals and base metals. The beauty of what we're seeing with the Keener Daylight project, which again is marvelous, is we have the narrow vein gold, and then in the second section, it's a copper porphyry. With the money on hand this year, the actual field season, we're going to be putting drill holes into the porphyry section, the copper gold porphyry. Due to the previous work already completed, we have a blueprint. We have the roadmap to go forward. We know through historic drilling, sampling, numbers that we have, we know where we want to look. This is not a grassroots exploration. You know, mining has struggled for a few years. We're now seeing a beautiful comeback with it. And previous companies have had the ability with the project, but not the ability with the financing to advance it as much as they wanted to. With the financing we've closed, with the money we have in the treasury, we have more than enough to complete the advancement and take it to that next level of proving up our resources. Okay.
So there has been a lot of activity there historically, and there are some big numbers I noticed from looking at your website there. Just to name a couple: 208,000 ounces at 1.08 grams per ton, and 272,000 ounces at 0.97 grams per ton. There's also been, I think, 37,000 meters of diamond drilling, and you have a resource in the measured, indicated, and inferred. So there is an awful lot of history there. And do you say the reason why it's not developed is mainly because of financing of previous owners?
I believe so. I mean, it's there was a lot of work. You know, the work started there in 2004, and it progressed. But we all know that mining took second place and third place to some of other sectors in the past. It's now that we start to realize that with the advent of electrical cars, with the advent of restorable energies and powers, all of these are going to require copper. They're all going to be requiring copper, which is now sort of started mining being a serious opportunity again. With certain aspects that have gone on with COVID and stuff, the world has printed a lot of money, and we're looking at gold now as a hedge. So the company itself has got the two aspects of, we've got the gold, the silver, and we also have the industrial aspect of the copper. You alluded to the numbers. Yeah, we know that there is just under 500,000 ounces of gold at a very healthy cut. We know that is there. It's drilled. We have the Teck smelter, the Teck Minco smelter. It's just 40 kilometers down the road on paved highway. So the location of this project is fabulous. The workforce is all in place. Everything we need is there. What we wish to do, we've had 37 kilometers, 37,000 meters of drilling. We're going through the core, we're reassessing it. We know where to look. The 4 historical mines On the daylight project, we're over a 3.5 kilometre trend. This we can look at immediately. We will wait for some of the snow to retreat. It's in a bit of a southern region, which we can start sampling without the permits on the copper areas while the permit comes through. We want to do 100, 200 metre step out, and then we'll still have time to put in some infill holes.
Okay. So there's lots going on then, lots of stuff planned. I wonder if you can just give us an overview of what is going on. You mentioned, I think I read somewhere, that you're going to target near-surf bonanza-grade gold zones and extensions of untested copper. So there's a few things happening. Can you give us a bit of an idea of the roadmap of the next actions you'll be taking on the project?
Yes, certainly. I mean, as we're sitting at the start of March, one of the things we're looking to achieve is the compilation of all the data we have. We've got it from the daylight zone and the Keener zone, so you can understand it. There's quite a lot of work to be done on this, but playing through it, everything's going great. My geos are working around the clock on that. Mm-hmm. Then what we look to do, we should have the updated 43 resource completed by the end of March. The drill permit application for Keener, which is the copper gold porphyry zone, that's actually being finalized and submitted. We're looking to get that drill permit for the work. At the moment, it's pretty busy, but we're looking to get that back for sort of midsummer, which is allow us to put, we can put the drills into the copper porphyry zone. Mm-hmm. We'd look to do probably 8 big drill holes, put some deep ones in, get the results. We'd look to select from that, as we say, some historical drill intersections, which we need to prove up. We do know in the daylight zone, where we've got these sort of, as you mentioned, alluded to, the bonanza zones. Mm-hmm. One thought is the possibility of there's a possible early production scenario on this, because, as mentioned, that data is historical. There's a permit in hand on the daylight zone, and we could actually step into that one quite soon. There is the roadmap. Mm-hmm. That is the plan to go forward. And as mentioned, I think the Keener zone, the daylight zone, has suffered from a sort of hiatus of work upon it. And maybe this was due to the fortunes of previous companies fighting with funds and struggling. Mm-hmm. We have all this in hand. We are financed. We have covered all our costs over the next 2 years. Okay. So we can meet our field season drill plans. We can meet next season's field plans. We can meet all the core requirements, and we can prove up this deposit. We feel we are sitting on a very healthy, we will say, mm-hmm. copper gold porphyry zone.
Okay, fantastic. Now, I wonder if I can just ask you a final question, more to get your thoughts, really. You mentioned it earlier as we were speaking about the mining cycle and where we are, and you feel that it's turning around and it's going to be doing rather well going forward. I also noticed that you are clearly British, and you obviously are now living and working with listed companies in Canada. So I wonder, just a sort of a double question, where do you think the mining sector's going? And also, why are you out in Canada running these companies?
I'll be absolutely straight. The mining industry, the sector at present is realizing there is a need for base metal. There is a need for precious metal. The one thing we are seeing is with the advent and the oncoming of more electric vehicles, more wind turbines, more wave turbines. Copper mining hasn't been initiated for quite some time. Whatever produced is being used up. It needs expansion. Gold and silver, always been a constant hedge against inflations and everything else. And with the advent of government supporting industry across the board in all nations during the last 18 months, there's been a flow of money, and this will need to be backed up. So what I do see is the mining industry is going to be very strong for the next 2 or 3 years as exploration goes on, and as for the next 10 years as production is met for the demand that is going to be ensuing. As reason for me being over in Vancouver, I actually left the UK 37 years ago, moved away, traveled the world, and had the luxury to settle in Vancouver, which is a beautiful country, kind of beautiful country, Vancouver, a beautiful city, and got into mining as just, it's not in my background. My background is actually gems, jewelry mining, gem mining.
Okay.
But always been around it. I love it. And the fact that mining industry is showing strength again, it's just great for everybody.
Perfect. Okay, well, thank you very much there. That's Nick Haughton, the CEO of West Mining Corp. Thank you very much for your time. Pleasure talking to you.
Absolute pleasure, Mark. Thank you for the interview.
Thank you for listening to this Stockbox interview. For more information, interviews and videos, visit our website at stockboxmedia.com or give us a follow on Twitter by searching @StockboxMedia.